You are tuned into The Library with Tim Einico, rapstation.com.
Can't you see? There's a pattern to all eclipse, an order and arrangement.
17-year-old gone astray and lost the way. Packed the bags after school, ran off one day. Told nobody and camped at her boyfriend's, even though he said that sometimes he hears voices. That old saying, two's better than one, and she figured full free.
He's 1/16th of the Almighty, one half of Glass City. His newest album, Zone 2, set to be released early 2014. He's the Midwest Zone, Nino Graye. Nino Graye, welcome to And You Don't Stop with Chuck D on The Library with Tim Einico.
What's going on, Tim, Chuck, guys, everyone at the family over there? Glad to be here, man.
Cool. Thanks for coming on. So Zone 2 is your newest album. What did you hope to accomplish with this album, and then how did you make sure you were able to achieve this?
Well, Zone 2, to answer that, I got to talk about the first one for a second. When I initially stepped out to do these albums, the Zone 2 is basically just called the vault. It's kind of like my place for records to go when they don't fit an overall project vibe, or if they're not the same ambience, they kind of just build up on my computer until I have enough. And then I kind of put it together. I treat it like a mixtape. It's basically just a mix of creative songs I've made, but I present it to you in album form. So this is basically my mind's overflow. After I do albums, the stuff that doesn't make it to projects or doesn't get featured on stuff, this is where the vault comes in. So as far as doing what I wanted to get done with this, I wanted to give some of the fans back some stuff this year because they had backed us so well with Almighty, the Second Coming. So I put this up for exclusive for a little while before 2014 it hits all the vendors. This album was basically just to give something to the fans that they weren't expecting, and I did it right before Christmas. So it was just a big grab for the people. That's all.
Nice. The first track of the album is I guess it's $0 SOS. SOS. Hey, there we go.
Yeah. All right. Out the corner of my eye, Graye seen it. The masses working in wait of the weekend. Society starting to come apart at the seam stitch, but you don't notice because you're too busy tweeting. School
And it could
snorting
technically be categorized under like a socially conscious track and also a critique of society. Was this purposeful to be the first track? And can you talk more about this track?
SOS is survival outsourced.
Oh, nice.
It's just kind of what I'm seeing America seems to be doing right now. We're taking in a lot more import than we export. The dollar might not be the Federal Reserve's money, international currency after like 2017. We just seem to be in a very tumultuous place for an American, for me being an American. So that was like my synopsis on how I seen everything going. Seems to be very socially relevant. Everyone's superficial, internet time. And I just kind of got tired of it. And that was my way of trying to poke fun at consumers, but at the same time, give them a little bit of an eye-opener, like, wow, holy shit, I was on Twitter. I was more worried about Twitter than this dude who got his face chewed off by a fucking bath salt zombie, or, the Occupy movement that happened. It kind of just disappeared after Jay-Z put out a T-shirt. So it's just things like that I didn't sit well with. So SOS came out.
Nice. And I'm going to actually jump around a little bit on your album, but because it kind of leads me into another question that I had, and it has to do with the track Death Wish. And it could be, if you just like listen to the track, it could be seen as kind of a quote unquote kind of morbid track, I guess. But that said, and you kind of talk about this in SOS, when you do write your music, what percentage of it for you is kind of autobiographical? What percentage is fantasy? Or is it just like really a great way for you to kind of either, vent or be able to speak for people that just don't have the voice to speak?
That's a good question. Death Wish was, I definitely agree. I've had people say, that's kind of dark, or we don't like that Nino. We like the progressive kind of Nino, the positive Nino. But don't get it twisted. That is positive. It's just death is another chapter of life. We become pure energy. We go back to the energy after this. This is all borrowed. So me saying that I live like a death wish is just saying I'm not scared of what's coming. I'm going to do everything I can in this life with this power I've been given by the higher energy. As far as some of the more morbid tones and talking about dialogue, friend dialogue, or dealing with alcohol or drugs, that's where I feel I try to speak for people who maybe don't know they need a voice. They just drink or smoke to get by, to stay numb, but they've done it so long that now they're even numb to their own conscious.
Oh, nice.
So, if that's your way, that's your death wish, So it's kind of a two-sided blade there. For me, it means I'm going to live it to the fullest. For others, it may mean you never do anything. So.
From every day of my life, reading about the greats who change how we see our plight, hearing courageous tales about us putting up a fight. One thing that they had in common, ain't none of them afraid to die. As I grow old, my friends, they trying to start dialogue about the perilous path I'm riding on, telling me to find a God or to try and solve my problems without relying on the final call. And sometimes they try and call, I don't pick up, not because I'm depressed or nothing, no mix-up. Plain as can be, they don't see what I see, yet there's pain when I speak, but they don't like my vision.
I want to go back to another track on the album, which is Lost Boys, which is kind of I think is one of my favorite tracks on the album.
Thank you.
Because I think it really highlights your flow, your lyricism, and there's something about it that really you could tell you have the passion for the music and the culture. Can you talk about writing this track and what you want to tell folks and the listeners with this track?
Lost Boys, definitely one of my personal favorites, just from the creative process standpoint. Just really reminiscent. I don't know why, but every time I hear someone say the name or if I hear the song come on, first thing that pops in my head is running around with a backpack full of graffiti cans and tabs and trying to spray at 3 a.m. right before first shift comes around. So got a couple hours to tack up and dry before they come by. Listening to Scarface and Ghetto Boys and everyone from Cali, and I was coming into my own as a 13, 14, 15-year-old kid, but at the same time I was also seeing hip-hop and that culture change, and needless to say, it was a good spot in my life. So I wanted to share with everyone one of the reasons why, many reasons why I do this music, none of which being money, but one of the biggest cliche-est ones is love. If it wasn't for some of this music that I mentioned, the Busta Rhymes and Scarface and Jay and whatever, Nas, I don't feel I'd be in the same position. Almost to the point that I'm not sure if I would be here in some cases, because I really was lost until I found a way to kind of vent and put my voice out there. So Lost Boys was a kind of a throwback to when I was finding myself as an MC and as a human being.
Like quick draw, McGraw. Of course, live swinging then you die by the sword. I'm aiming for the parking lot, the fences get ignored. I'm never ever gonna forget what I learned watching the sport. And that's if you feeling left out, player, rush the court. You feeling left out, player, rush the court. 1, 2, 1, 1, 2. That's something these fools just don't do. 1, 2, 1, 1, 2. That's something these youngins just don't know.
And that actually goes into Lost Boys. Actually is followed by another favorite track of mine is Reality.
Hey yo, quick with his speech, spitting heat, admittedly not giving a bleep if it's discreet. Triple knotted laces, only things to fit my feet. I'll bring it to the booth, bet I learned it on the streets. Old heads taught me things I won't repeat. Heard them throw around sayings like, boys, you ain't old enough to blink. In a blink, they're gone now, and I'm just like y'all now. Relate to your dog now, we all have scars now. And deep down, beyond ready. Rock with the MC God amongst many. Bet we get the better of the odds regardless what the cards tell me.
Just straight fire, no hook. Just rhyming. which is kind of lost these days. Can you also discuss kind of the making of this track and why no hook?
Reality, produced by Verbal. A shout out to Verbal, man. That whole song right there came about from him. We were in the lab one day. We don't actually get to see each other as often now, just with how life has gone. He's now married and having a good run at the married life, and I've got kids and they're in school and stuff. You know how that is, Tim.
Yes.
So we kind of grew apart, but not for any negative purposes. So it's nice when we get together. But we always seem to gravitate towards the heavy lyrical stuff, boom bap, kind of more fundamental hip hop aspect. Whenever we're together, because he's very by the roots boom bap guy too. We were both KRS boot camp graduates. You know what I'm saying? We grew up listening to KRS and Dougie and Big Daddy Kane and all these guys. So hooks and choruses and flashiness, like Big Daddy Kane a little bit, Rakim and then a little bit, but most of the reason why we got into rap was because we wanted to show people that lyrically and mentally we were sharp, that we could drop science, we could drop knowledge. We're not doing it out of a egotistical direction, just doing it to say that we can and that we're not stupid. So reality was basically just that. It was venting a little bit of displeasure about the industry, a little bit of life, a little bit of rap, and a little bit of show off. Those songs, like Reality, is what I like to call a wild card song, which is basically if the beat is neutral enough, you can kind of speak about anything.
Oh, the MC God amongst many, bet we get the better of the odds regardless what the cards tell me, cause we starving and I just ate spaghetti, don't get it twisted, rotini, flow scenery, so here's hoping you see me on the grindstone to the white bone, we so past bleeding, nerve damage, damn them if they can't feel me, feel my pain, by then you feel my rain, I'm familiar with pain, and I'm similar to Bane to cope with reality, there's drugs in my veins, my expression like a mask on my face, draped delicately over the Leviathan inside of him. My goal's to overdose, music martyr mode, heart explode. Guy spitting the illest shit I never wrote. Plus my kids holding cash, me letting out a muffled but triumphant last laugh under the grass. If you indulge, find a higher your choice and just vibe to the vibe while I make this noise. It's like a field full of minds and blind men. We all just wandering, one step from...
And make it all encompassing, then it tends to make the songs a little bit more cohesive and stick around longer. So me and Verbal thought, you know what, this beat is awesome. It was one of his favorites. I think I had it for all of 3 days, and it was ready to go. So we went back to the studio and dropped it. And it wasn't even supposed to be named Reality, actually. Verbal did that, and he named it. He's like, so you got a name for this? It always comes down to this one question at the end of the session. So what are we calling this? I'm exporting. What are we calling this? And I'm always like, I don't fucking know. Or I don't know, excuse me. Because by then it's 3 a.m. and we've gone through some beers and a little bit tired. So the main thing, I usually wait and do that with a clear head. So he popped in with Reality, and it just happened that he typed it with the cats on Just Real.
Right.
And then the rest of it fell in place as lowercase. So it fit all the way around. One of those classic tracks you didn't mean to do. It just kind of fell out that way.
Is that actually is that how it, I guess, normally works when you're working with a producer, that you get the beat first and then you write, or you write something and then the producer fits a beat around it, or does it really just depend on the track?
Yeah, I'd have to say it definitely depends on two things. It depends on the artist, and then it depends on the track. It depends on the artist because first they have to be talented enough at writing, and not just writing rap, but writing in general. If they can present you with feelings in a 3-minute span, and you gravitate to it, I find that to be some of the most attractive parts of lyricism. So when when I hear a beat and I like it, I always want to write something to it. I don't necessarily look to try and fit one of my creations to it. I'll try and make something. If I can't do it justice, I won't do it. I'm not one of those artists out here like some guys. They hear a beat, oh my God, this beat is classic. This is an instant classic. I got to keep this, and they put out a song that's like C minus,
right.
garbage. Or it's got a super nice hook with somebody singing, but the 16s are garbage and it's superficial, money, blah, blah, money. So I tend to try and get custom creations or at least new creations. And if not, then I'll always write and go back and try and have them basically build the flesh and the skin and blood on top of the skeleton of the beat. Take out that snare, add this, bring the hi-hat down, maybe put a scratch, a couple things like that. But I'm not really picky. Most of the times I can work with what I get. So I guess to answer your question, it depends on the producer.
Right.
If the producer's good at his job, it makes the artist's job a lot easier.
Oh, nice. We're speaking to Nino Graye. His latest album, our newest album, is Zone 2. Out early 2014. I want to go back to one of the tracks, and you've discussed this a little bit already, but the track Q&A.
Got a question I've been wanting to ask. If hip-hop's dead, why does everybody rap? Everybody rap, everybody rap. Why does everybody rap, everybody rap? Yo, I got a question I've been wanting to ask. If hip-hop's dead, why does everybody rap? Everybody rap, everybody rap. Why does everybody rap, everybody rap? Yo, this shit is funny, listening to these youngins. Bunch of bold-faced liars stunting to the public. Those clowns claiming they touching down, but I found most of them sleeping on their mother's couch. What a ouch. I've had it with the masses, hailing the average rapper who makes dances and glitz classical-ish. They wanna talk shop with me, don't even know the game. Focused on the players, don't know the coach's name. You should be so ashamed, thinking putting a gimmick on will get you on. Make sure your wig and lipstick is on, cause any real MC can see through your script and will eat you the second they see that you ain't legit. And all they listen to is radio and top 40. In other words, what y'all listen to is boring, so I don't wanna hear that music die down. Everybody and their grandmama do it right now. Got a question I've been wanting
tackle the legitimacy of commercial rap and the dilution of rap music and the culture, because it seems that everybody, as you say, everybody wants to be a rapper.
Yes.
I guess a few things. One, what made you write the track, but has you've seen as an artist, you see the kind of some people becoming very successful and not good at what they do. Does that ever discourage you from doing this art form, or have you just forgotten about that?
I could answer that two ways, and I think I'll answer it how I planned to. If I was worried about the diluted guys making it to the top, I would have quit this stuff when I was freestyling in the jazz cafe basements. I've been absolutely unaffected by their process. I see it. I don't like it. Does it anger me? Does it irritate me? Oh yeah, definitely. I feel like hip hop's been turned into kind of like a prostitute of what it used to be. Like, it used to be like the aged, pretty lady who lived up the block and took care of everybody. But now, she hasn't paid her bills. No one's looking out. She's on the block. She's kind of tricking to get by, and I'm not okay with that. Some people are okay tricking the system to get by,
Right.
But Q&A basically was me just that simple, just posing that question. Like, I got tired. I'd get on social media or Twitter or something, and I'd see like, hip hop's dead, I'm making trap, or Nas said it best, hip hop's dead, and all this, and like, no disrespect to Mr. Jones, but I do not agree with him at all. I feel certain elements of hip hop have moved on, and what we have now is an unidentified object that used to be hip hop. We just have to grab the reins and kind of steer it back in the direction of something that we can be familiar with. So Q&A was definitely me being mad, Tim. That was me saying, look, I know you guys might have millions of dollars. You got a good connect. You guys got managers and yes men and all these people to pat you on your back and shine your shoes. But at the end of the day, none of that phases me, because behind all the doors, after they turn off all the cameras and all that, Tim, it's still just another person who sits down to take a dump just like you and me.
Right. Nice.
So at the end of the day, if you don't got the skills to pay the bills, then you should just stop. Go get a job, go to school, I don't know, hustle, get into real estate, something. But if you don't do music because you love it, I feel you really shouldn't.
Right.
Because you just, you're bringing the culture down, and you're making it worse for the next culture to get into it. They'll be one step farther away from what it really looked like.
Right.
They're just, it's the blind leading the lost. And I have to laugh.
Right.
I have to laugh, So it's like, oh, you got a video on World Star Hip Hop. Wow, that's awesome. Have you bought one beat?
Right.
Do you have any features? Distro? Do you know about any of these words that I'm saying to you? No? Oh, because you're swag. Oh, you turn up. Okay. It's that communication. It's like that lack of intelligence and like professionalism. They just think, I'm going to make these few songs. I'm going to sound like such and such who's on the radio, and then I'm going to be popular instantaneously. Cool, whatever. If that's what you're into, I mean, I ain't hating on your hustle. I hate on you, but I won't hate on the hustle. And that's as real as I can be about it. I have a big chip on my shoulder when it comes to hip hop, because I stick so close to the fundamentals and the classics.
Right.
Or I try to. That when I see it get by, I can't help but be a little miffed, but I still find more comedy in it than I find tension.
Do you think because of so many people rapping that, the culture will eventually, I know this is a strong of a word, but die out because it is getting so diluted and people are, just.
Yeah. I mean, with the internet and all this instantaneous media and stuff, the outlets and the time it takes people to find the outlets has become seconds.
Right.
So there's no true proving ground anymore. There's no real dedication, to master anything. You need to spend 10 to 15,000 hours doing it, and I don't feel like any of them have done that. They just are mimicking or following a gimmick or some sort of trend to implicate the lifestyle that they see because they want it.
Right.
They don't even rap. If they could sell, if they could sell toilets and live like that, they'd be selling toilets.
Right.
Talking about, I'm swagging, I'm selling toilets, I'm rich. They don't care. They just want to be the guy on the scene that everyone's smiling at.
Right.
So for me, it's just, I go into music with a different idea. I'm not looking for, I guess I'm not looking for anything except to be known as one of the best to ever do it, and that I always did it for hip hop.
Nice.
That's it. As far as it dying out though, if it hasn't already, I don't know when it's going to start. There's still lots of people that are on the scene and doing really strong stuff for it, like Static and Danny Brown and like Nas and Elzai and Kendricks and whatever. There is good to it, but I definitely feel it's like 70 bad, 30 good. The only way that we're ever going to fix it is kind of listening to Kendrick and telling these MFers to either step it up or get off the pot.
Right.
So I did do a response to Kendrick too, by the way. But my Q&A was kind of like what Kendrick had said on Control before they dropped Control. I was basically saying, look, you guys need to either be about your skill and your talent or get the F out of here. Because there's real people like me and hundreds of others who really love what they're doing that should be getting a little bit more notoriety.
Kendrick, you calling out hip-hop and I'm calling back, so pick it up and listen. I too am a killer, no submissions, on a mission to rid the game of that vermin crawling round by the belly, bottom feeders and leeches all trying to get me. Focus on what's important, up them cats you already scorching. Come try and take a bite of Papa Bear's porridge. I feel like it's raining again, this time it's pouring like I do at that Marnier after having a long day.
Nino Graye, his new album, Zone 2, is out 2014. I was curious, when writing something like this, or actually, going through all the tracks for this album, do you have a favorite lyric or a verse on the album? Something that you wrote, then afterward you're like, damn, that's just too dope. I can't believe I wrote that, or something like that.
Yeah, wow. I would have to say one of my favorites, just off the top of my head, would be Final Word. I believe that's number 10 on Zone 2. First verse somewhere in there, I say, it would have been nice to get this peace of mind while I was still on the earth. But at times I feel the undeniable point that work ethic and worth are rarely noticed or even appreciated without 6 feet of dirt.
I feel the undeniable point that work ethic and worth are rarely noticed or even appreciated without 6 feet of dirt. So let the bells toll, ringing for who? Not that I care, but who the hell knows? Also, if you hear it before me, fat women singing, just point them out and I'll drown them. Flow forever, reign supreme in this.
That was very big for me because, and it's funny, I kind of wrote it and then subconsciously my brain put the message in it. Later, I kind of absorbed it fully. That most people, it usually takes something negative to bring people together or to realize that they have something very good or they have a gift. And that's what I've noticed. So, Chris Wallace, he was in all his glory, but no one was addressing the fact that his lifestyle was as dangerous as it really was. Big Punisher, he had all this glory, and no one really, albeit there was people trying to be a voice in his head of reason, but there wasn't really anyone there to motivate him to get healthy, to stay away from that danger. They didn't appreciate him until he was gone. They didn't appreciate Big L till he was gone. They didn't appreciate Jam Master Jay till he was gone and what they left behind. So I took that from music and I just looked around and it was everywhere, England was like an uproar, and then Lady Di died, and everybody in England came together and was united. It was ridiculous. But it took something negative for this to happen. So that line was big to me because it was me kind of realizing that, I should just look forward to, in rap, I'm not going to get what I'm properly deserving until I'm gone, because that's how long it's going to take some of these people to actually grasp what it is we were doing in this culture, especially during a time of such delusion. So, yeah, for me, that was that was a big, scribe line. I felt like a hip-hop scribe that was wearing a cloak, and I was writing on parchment with quills.
Nice.
Not Illuminati, but, just down in the basement.
Right, definitely.
Let me just squash all that real quick before it even comes out. Oh, he said cloak. Oh, my God.
They have Illuminati Nino Graye attack ads right now.
Yeah, oh, God. There's a triangle on my cover, people, and that triangle has nothing to do with it.
Obviously you've done a lot of work. As we mentioned, you're 1/6 of the Almighty and 1/2 of Glass City. Yeah. So when you're writing a solo album, such as your latest one, Zone 2, how is it easier or harder to write for a group or for yourself? And I'm only asking that because because some people, when they're as a group, they have let's say artist A and artist B. Artist A and artist B are writing. B presents his or her verse. Artist A is so he's bringing it like that, and then it kind of forces them to write even harder, I guess.
I would say the friendly competitiveness definitely is a good thing, at least for me. writing for projects with groups is harder for me versus solo, just because I'm a stickler for cohesion. As long as our songs work together, then I'm happy. So, for instance, when we did Almighty, when Jimmy sent Matt the beats, Matt broke it down. He sent me mine for my features. When 80 sent me the beats, he told me that one of them was going to be me, Capadonna, Cannabis, and Planet Asia. So I wanted to write to it last, which I guess everyone ultimately would, but only because I wanted to be cohesive and not mention something that everyone else said, but touch on the same subject or kind of gravitate in the same direction so that the thread of the song continues, and it's not just like he was writing about one thing, then this guy was on his own, and this guy was right. You know, I want to make it a fluid listening environment.
The pictures on the corner by the bank waiting to make the ends. I take a step to the curb, heard a person yell take his breath. Searching for the problem, I got him right when he made a left. On the street in a Jeep, seen him trying to break his neck. Passing off a pack to the back of the cab, Capadonna's driving. I feel these stupid motherfuckers Zion. We pack stilettos and black metal. Plant one in your chest, watch your back open and bloom like flower petals. But they bogus, I know it, they keep rolling.
So writing for groups is harder because everyone's kind of all over the page, or, you know, one dude's in Arizona writing, one's in Cali, one's in Detroit, one's in Toledo. Besides like emails and phone calls, it's kind of hard to be on the same page. So, yeah, that's a welcome challenge anytime is writing in a group. Writing solo is always a lot easier because I don't have to argue with anybody. Basically, like the final word, everything's carte blanche is right here with me. And because I own everything that I do, I don't have to cut corners or anything, so to speak. So solo writing easier, group writing harder, but more rewarding when it works.
And you know, as we mentioned, you're part of the Almighty, which is Cannabis, Capadonna, Planet Asia, M80, Bronze Nazareth, and of course yourself. So I'm just curious if you could talk about like kind of what was it like creating that album and working with those guys?
Almighty for me was by far probably the most important album. Not just in my career, but also in my love of music, because my whole career I've not had a manager, I've not had a label or anything, and I've made it this far. And it was kind of like a culmination for me of all my hard work that I finally was blessed to be seen as a legend amongst legends. And I was given as much respect as I was being a new guy in the door, that they wanted me on the Almighty. So first off, coming into this, I was extremely humble and beyond words at the chance to express myself with these guys, Wu-Tang and Durag, through Planet Asia, Durag, and we got the Wise Men with Bronze Naz and Holy Toledo, which is like my home company with M80 in Glass City. So it just felt like a bunch of different family members coming together, you know, because I'd been listening to Wu, and I met the Wise Men a few years back and been cool with them. Me and Kevlar done work. So I felt like I was part of a invite-only, members-only kind of club.
Nice.
So that was good for me on the hip-hop side. The album work, actually, though, was actually very by the book. It went real fast. Everybody was on time. I think Biz was the last guy to turn in his stuff. Planet was first, and then me, 80, and Bronze, we recorded last and finished it up at Bronze Studio in Detroit. We did that in like 2 days, and came back down here. I got on the single for The Good Life with Capadonna and P. De Niro from Hawaii, which that was awesome. We got to shoot a video and stuff. Just an incredible experience all the way around, Tim. I got to see a lot of promotional side. I got to work with administration and talk to A&R. I got to talk to the graphics guy. I see a little bit of how that goes, and they have tons of headaches just like us. And I kind of gained I don't want to say a newfound respect, but maybe re-energized my respect for the independent label and labels that are really doing stuff for hip hop like RBC, because it really does take a whole machine to put out a project like that. And we had a head soldiers on this one. So I was just, first and foremost, I was just absolutely humbled and happy to be part of it. So needless to say, the album coming together, writing it, it was probably some of the most stressful writing, and not just because I would listen, reference-wise, when it came to me writing, I had Cannabis and Planet Asia stuff. So to say I was imposed would be an understatement. Like all the beats I had basically had somebody's verse on it, and you always have that idea in the back of your head, like, all right, you did that. I'm gonna say a little something. I'm gonna bring a little flavor, a little something no one else has got. So the competitiveness was fun. It was also refreshing to be doing it at such a high level, with such expert craftsmen, that I couldn't help but feel like I became sharper just from being a part of this project.
Oh, nice.
So first and foremost, I'm humbled to be a part of it, but secondarily, I am thankful for the chance to sharpen my blades.
Was there ever like a weird temptation to, because you've listened to these guys, to, I don't know, not like kind of copy their style, not directly copy their style, but kind of, as like an ode to them?
I every once in a while I thought about, like, maybe say something like referencing something Biz said or something from D-Leg Dynasty, something like that. But I always chose to move away from it because a long time ago somebody told me that the best man that could be a man is a man who made himself. So as much as I respect these guys and I love what they did for the craft, and first and foremost I am a fan of the culture, and I live this culture. This isn't just something I do when I'm on the phone talking to Tim or when I'm in the booth spitting. This is me every day. It's bigger than that. So, I feel if you want to show respect to somebody, either do it in private or between you two. But to get on track and to mirror your words, to kind of make an ode to somebody or an homage, I feel like that's a little bit more like biting than an homage.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Only because of the craft that we're in. If we were in any other craft other than writing and performing lyrics, I would feel probably a little bit different about that. But in this game, our words literally are all we have. So I feel like if you take words from somebody, you a black piece of gum stuck to my Nike.
Nice. As we mentioned, Cannabis was on this project. Was there any? I know Cannabis is, I used to listen to him in the '90s, and he was like, one something away from like blowing up, and then he didn't. And for whatever reason, he didn't blow up. But was there something that, working with him, was there any lessons that you took away from, talking to him about like the business side or the art side, stuff like that?
First and foremost, shout out to Kane, my boss, man. Almighty Cannabis, one of the famo. Respect the hell out of that guy. Been listening for a long time. I gotta say it for all the hip hop heads out there, because I will feel absolutely terrible if I don't. If there wasn't at least one time, let me just say this real clear. If there wasn't at least one time, sometime in the 90s, if you was a hip hop head, that you weren't listening and heard Biz and thought, this guy is the penultimate MC. Mm-hmm. If you think that at least once, then you and I have nothing in common. Because he encompassed like everything that that emceeing was. It was being smart. It was being original. It was creative. It was catchy. It was pushy. It was controversial. It was anything but the norm. So for me to say, did I learn anything from him? Hell yeah. I've learned all kinds of stuff from him. In the almighty aspect, working on the album, being more an artist and not a fan or a listener, I have to say I learned a few things, man, and I guess to touch on them very briefly, it would be, pick your battles. Pick your battles, do it correctly, and if in your heart you feel you got this, and if your heart you're validated, then that's all that matters. And I believe the bigger and more important one was, don't let nobody bring you down, no matter what. Kind of going back to what you asked me about seeing the dilution of the game and maybe not so talented people up on top versus more dense or lyrical people being on the bottom. Never let that get in his way. Never let that phase him. He continued to make great music. So if I learned anything, it's to do that. It's to continue to create my music and do it with a level of self-respect. And also just to be a bad mother shut your mouth, because he's one of the illest. And the battles thing, and I'm not trying to say that like in a dogging way, because I know a lot of people, like radio stations and stuff, they try to make stuff out to sound like something else and blah, blah, blah. I mean, pick your battles. Like, if you pick a battle, you need to go into it not only knowing that in victory this is what you receive, but in defeat this is also what you will receive.
Okay.
And he's had his ups and downs. He's had his runs, and I can't speak on it too much because I don't know the insides and the outs. But what I do know is he managed to maneuver through all of that and keep his self-respect and make good music. And that's all I could ask for myself. So, I learned from cannabis to be professional. How's that?
Nice. We're speaking to Nino Graye. New album is out in 2014, Zone 2. I guess this would be a weird transition, but how can fans copy your newest album and your other work?
Fans, hip-hop heads, you were trying to get a hold of my work, to go to f4emusic.bandcamp.com. I've got some albums up, 3 albums up right now, I think. Before the end of the year, there will also be a free mixtape there called Zombie Bait. You can go there and get all of them for, I think it's like $7. When it hits vendors in 2014, I'll be putting everything up together, and they'll probably be no less than $10 across the board. f4emusic.bandcamp.com. You could check me out on mtv.com. You could check me out on Reverb, Twitter. Type me in on Google. Hit YouTube. Check the videos. SoundCloud.com/Nino Graye. No spaces. There's a bunch of mixtape stuff up on there. It's all free too. So if you guys want to get a hold of me, you can. I'm out here.
Smell of gasoline on the scene when we come out. Girls, bring your friends, new clothes, get the drugs out. Yo, the roof on fire, don't nobody run out, cause they just wanna jump out, pass sun up to sundown. We gon' burn this mother, burn this mother, burn this mother to the
top of the food chain, living life like a movie. But check it, all stunts are real, ain't no acting, you cats can sue me. I'm flying high, backseat of the Benz, leader of Gen, head spinning, hit the club, trying to leave with a friend. Tell my girl stop by for the evening, and then we repeat it again. F4E in this security harassing. No, I don't got the trees. All I brought was bank in the club. The owner got my weed. I'm zoning, already focused on finding something. I'm scoping. I size them up and line them up in my mind like I'm trying to. Oh, forgive me, mommy. Liquor got me tipsy, mom. That shit, I'm honest. That's more than you get from most that's in it, darling. Tell her welcome to the party. Welcome to the party. Mary Molly put it on me like her middle name is Naughty. All the fellas in the zone buying up the bar. All the ladies bodies hit the floor. Fire alarm.
Smell the gasoline on the scene when we come out. Girls, bring your friends, new clothes, get the trucks out. Yo, the roof on fire, don't nobody run out, cause they just wanna jump out, pass sun up to sundown. We gon' burn this mother, burn this mother, burn this mother to the...
Lights are flashing on shorty while she dancing. That body beaming, I'm fiending, I gotta have it. She been undressing me with the eyes I imagine. I slide up to ask a question even though I know the answer. All these motherfuckers hating, there is no debating. They see I'm close to greatness, so close that they can taste it. Tell the DJ turn it up, turn it up, turn it up. Make sure they heard of us, heard of us. Hey yo, she pulling on my collar, smell like Dolce Gabbana and vodka. Empty the bottle like she don't know how to let off the throttle. Hit the parking lot and she followed. She dig the bravado. Don't think you hit the lotto, you won't even get McDonald's. Left the spot around 3. Early get the yawning, cause the night still going and it's early in the morning. Light up the night when I light up and I ask, am I the only one who's got a match?
Smell the gasoline on the scene when we come out. Girls, bring your friends, new clothes, get the trucks out. Yo, the roof on fire, don't nobody run out, cause they just wanna jump out, pass sun up to sundown. We gon' burn this mother, burn this mother, burn this mother to the ground. We gon' burn this mother, burn this mother, burn this mother to the ground.
Do that ish, do that ish, do it. Let loose, nothing to it. Do that ish, do that ish, do it. Let loose, nothing to it. Do that ish, do it. Do it, do it.